Hello, I'm Wayne from TorqueCars. So in this video we're going to look at 5 extremely dangerous driving habits. They're things people do all the time without realising, but they can actually prove to be lethal. And please look out for the 5th one, because I see so many people doing this when I'm out and about, and it really could cost you your life. So the first area is keeping a good, safe distance from the car in front. We learn our stopping distances when we're driving our cars, but it's just a series of numbers in our head, and a lot of people find it hard to visualise what that distance actually is. So one method, we used to have an advertising campaign in the UK that really drummed this into us, one of those road safety things that they run out every sort of 6 months or so. But this campaign was giving us the 2-second rule. So the concept was you follow the car in front, and when it passes a marker, a bridge, a lamppost, or maybe even just a pothole on the road, you count 2 seconds. And if you actually say only a fool breaks a 2-second rule, that will give you the 2 seconds. So if your car passes the marker before you finish saying that, you're too close and you need to back off. The beauty of that simple method is it works at any speed. So if you're going slowly, you're obviously travelling over a short distance, and if you're going faster, you'll cover a much larger distance, but the time actually factors in the stopping distance that you need. So that little tip could save your life. And all the time I'm seeing cars that are driving not even within their stopping distance, but within their thinking distance. So if something happened to the car in front, they would be straight into the back of it before they've even had the chance to react. And it is surprising how slow our reactions are as a human when we're not expecting it. When we're driving a car and something happens quickly, that ability to respond will actually typically take a couple of seconds before anything starts to happen. So the second area, it's a bit of a maintenance one. You obviously do your checks on your car and check your oil level and water levels and everything, but do we check our tyre pressures, and do we check them as often as we should? Now, if your tyre pressures are too low, that can adversely affect the handling of your car. I've driven cars that have shocking handling, and when I've looked at the tyre pressures, I've found the tyre pressures to be far too low or uneven. So most car manufacturers recommend a set of pressures for the front and for the rears, depending on whether a car is loaded up or not. Just making sure that you're within those requirements can make a big difference to handling. And if you've got one tyre that's particularly soft, or there's a big difference between the front and the rear, it can really cause problems when you're cornering and handling. And the extra flexing that happens in the tyre can actually cause heat to build up, and you get all sorts of problems. Your tyre wear will be much more quick as well. With low pressures, you tend to get more wear on the outsides of the tyres. So there's a cost there that we need to avoid as well. So it's a very simple one, and do check your pressures every couple of days. A lot of drivers do it once a week. That's fine. The more you do it, the better it is, and it should be a regular check, not just something you notice by walking around the car, because to be honest, you won't notice if your tyre is lacking a little bit of air. You've actually got to get the tyre pressure gauge on it and just check how many PSI are actually in that tyre. So the third area we're going to look at is positioning and changing lanes on highways, freeways, motorways. A lot of drivers just change lane and they don't use their turn signal, they don't use their mirrors, and they don't look over their shoulder. Now, all of those things can be absolutely lethal. You need to check your mirrors. You should get into the habit of that mirror signal maneuver that they drum into us when we're learning to drive a car. So it should be part of your habit. Whenever you change direction, the first thing you should do is check your mirror to just check that the direction you're moving in, or the lane you're going to occupy, is clear. The second thing that you should do is just look over your shoulder. That simple check will eliminate anything that was hiding in your blind spot. And don't just think it could be a car. I've had motorbikes sitting in my blind spot and they're quite narrow. You wouldn't really know they were there unless you were being particularly observant. But changing lanes right in front of them, it could be absolutely fatal to them and cause a really nasty accident. So the next thing is in country lanes. So a lot of drivers know their stopping distance and they drive according to their stopping distance in the country lanes. And in the UK and lots of other areas, those country lanes are really only wide enough for one vehicle in a lot of places, particularly on sharp bends. It is a fantastic design. I think the local road must have been designed by sheep just by the way they curve and bend. But doing that, it's fine if you can guarantee nothing's coming the other way. But if something's coming the other way and they're driving according to their stopping distance, you're going to hit each other because you're moving towards each other. So you've actually got to double your stopping distance on those roads. So if there's only one lane, you need to leave a much longer stopping distance to allow an oncoming car also to brake so you avoid hitting it. I've seen people herring down country lanes and braking at the last minute and skidding off the road or crashing into another car with the wheels fully locked because they just couldn't do anything. It's physically impossible to stop the car. So bear that in mind on those country lanes. Keep good observation. You can usually see if a road is clear before a bend, if there's inclines and dips and things, and you sometimes get a vantage point of the road early on that you don't get up close. So keep a wide view of everything going on, not just a few feet in front of your car. But do bear in mind your stopping distance needs to be extended when there is only one lane and you've got the possibility of a car coming directly towards you. So the fifth area, and this I see a lot and it really does cause problems. You're on a hill travelling at 50, 60, 70, whatever the regulation speed limit is, but to maintain that speed limit, a lot of drivers ride the brakes. So the brake is constantly in contact with the brake disc and it's building up heat. That's the way brakes work. They convert your kinetic energy into heat. So if you're on a hill and you're continually putting heat into your braking system, it's going to fail. So the best case scenario is you get brake fade, so your brakes don't respond as well when you need them after that. And the brake fade can actually last longer than you think, not just on the hill, but for a duration of time after you finish the hill and finish that braking and you want to use your brakes and they're just not there. In a worst case scenario, it can actually cause your brakes to fail. I've seen brake pads completely destroyed by heat and brake discs, and you're putting a lot more wear in the system. If your brake fluid is not up to spec, you've not changed it, it could well cause a lot of sponginess in the braking as you get air bubbles and gases building up within the brake fluid that really shouldn't be there, and that is really detrimental. So if you're on a hill and you want to slow up, just drop down a gear and let the engine braking keep the car's momentum steady, or push the nose of the car into the barrier and allow the friction in the bodywork to build up and slow your car. But it's probably much better just to use a lower gear and make the engine braking do all the work. So I just hope that these 5 little pointers have helped us all to think about our driving carefully. They're all habits that we all fall into. There's lots more, there's lots of little gripes, but I've just picked out there some of the main ones that can cause major damage and major problems on the roads. So I hope this video has been useful to you. Don't forget to stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and please drop us a like because it really helps us to get out there. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.